Welcome back to earmarks.mpg. Today we are going to examine the first in a series of Steve Austria and Dave Hobson earmarks that we believe are the most abusive, wasteful, and in some cases corrupt. But first, it's important for you to understand why we're tying Steve Austria to Dave Hobson. It's very simple. Dave Hobson chose Steve Austria as his replacement, just like Mike DeWine chose Dave Hobson as his. Steve Austria is a third-generation career politician, and I'm confident that you agree with me that it's time to stop that line of succession at the earliest opportunity. In January 2009, Ohio Republican Party Chairman Kevin DeWine put together a 10-point plan to rehabilitate the Ohio Republican Party after it was torn apart by CoinGate and other scandals. One part of that plan was to enforce a zero-tolerance policy for misconduct. We are putting Kevin DeWine on notice today that Americans for John Mitchell 2010 will hold Kevin DeWine accountable for misconduct in the Ohio Republican Party. The first of the worst is TPI Composites, where we can recognize 3 levels of misconduct. Level 1 is a sweetheart deal with lobbyist Jeanette Packwing, who, when Dave Hobson awarded a $4.5 million earmark to TPI Composites, was married to Dave Cook, who was Dave Hobson's chief staffer on the House Appropriations Subcommittee for Energy and Water. Lobbyist Jeanette Packwing received $60,000 from TPI Composites. She donated $2,000 of that back to the Hobson campaign. TPI Composite executives kicked in another $6,000 to the Dave Hobson campaign and more to Steve Austria. Next, there's Steve Austria's claim that he was responsible for up to 100 jobs at TPI Composites facility in Springfield. That plant closed in March of 2009, yet Steve Austria continued to take credit for those jobs as late as October 2009, 7 months after the plant closed. If those jobs ever existed at all, they existed at TPI Composites facilities in China, Mexico, Rhode Island, and Iowa. Finally, there's Dave Hobson's stealthy relationship with Midland Properties, the real estate company that appears to have brokered the deal on the now vacant plant at 2145 Air Park Drive in Springfield. To summarize, Dave Hobson's chief staffer's lobbyist wife received $60,000 from TPI Composites after Dave Hobson awards TPI Composites a $4.5 million earmark. $8,000 of that earmark was kicked back to Dave Hobson's campaign by Ms. Packwing and TPI executives. Steve Austria takes credit for jobs that, if they exist at all, exist in Mexico, China, Rhode Island, or Iowa. And Dave Hobson most likely profited from the real estate transaction on the now vacant facility in Springfield. In closing, we want to make it clear that Mr. Austria has an open invitation to discuss these statements of fact, not to mention these serious allegations that Steve Austria and Dave Hobson broke the law. Thank you for joining us at reformcongress.com. Next time we'll explore a Jobs for Mrs. Steve Austria earmark at NextEd's Research Park in Springfield.